Okay guys, welcome to a new video. Today I'm doing a God tutorial. So this is a weekly series I do on my channel. I do this every Tuesday. And basically the way this series works is you guys leave a comment at the end of the video, or now. Well, basically you leave a comment on the videos of the tutorials saying which God you'd like to see next week, and then I do a tutorial of the most requested God. The reason I do it this way, rather than me just picking a God to do a tutorial on each week or doing it alphabetically, is by doing it this way I can do tutorials on gods which most of my viewers want to see. So that way I'm actually doing tutorials on gods that would help you, rather than me just picking a god at random which you don't really like to play and you don't really want to see a tutorial on. So I'd suggest leaving a comment either now or at the end of the video saying which god you want to see me do a tutorial on next week, and I will be sure to do the one that gets the most votes. Anyway, let's get on to the video. So this week I'm doing a god tutorial for Ares. So the way my tutorials work, like I said, I'll be doing them every Tuesday. So I explain how to build the god and the reasons why you build each items and which ones you can do in different situations. Then I explain how you level the god, and then I explain how to use your abilities in the most effective way. So I split the video up into 3 parts. So the first part will be the item builder. So if I clear all this. So when you're thinking about building Ares, the main thing you need to consider is Ares' passive. So if I quickly go on to his abilities. Okay, Ares' passive is called Blessed Presence. So basically it's a self buff it's a buff to himself, as you can see here, and basically every completed aura item Ares buys, it gets him 30 additional magical power. So what I mean with an aura item, for example, Sovereignty. Sovereignty is an aura item that grants 25 HP 5 and 20 magic protection to all allies within a 70 unit radius. So that's an aura item, something that gives buffs to allies or applies buffs in an area around you. So if Ares builds any of these aura items, his passive automatically gives him 30 magical power. For example, if Ares builds a Voidstone, it gives him 40 magical power, 40 magical protection, as well as debuffing protections. And in total that will give him 70 magical power because of his passive, which it gets an extra 30. So for that reason, building aura items on Ares is always a good idea. So when playing Ares, first of all I need to get this out of the way, is the build I teach in my tutorial series and the abilities I say to level in my tutorial series are all for Conquest, because Conquest is like the standard MOBA game mode, and obviously it's the most popular. Well, I'm not sure it's the most popular, but it's the one Smite does 2 tournaments on. So if you ever go to a Smite tournament, they'll be playing Conquest most of the time. So that's why the builds that I do are based on the main game mode, which in my opinion is Conquest for Smite. So yeah, all the builds I'll be teaching you in the Smite tutorial series is for Conquest. So if you want to start, the way you want to start with Ares, the way I say it, there's 2 starts. So the 2 starting items you can buy is either Watcher's Gift or Market of Vanguard. These depend on your playstyle. I'll explain that briefly, but I'm just going to go on what active you buy next, and this isn't the active slot. So what you can do is, you can buy Watcher's Gift, Market of Vanguard, and you can buy loads of potions and just leave it at that. Or you can buy Watcher's Gift, Market of Vanguard, get boots and a few potions, or you can get Watcher's Gift, Market of Vanguard, and active and a few potions. So if you was going to get actives, let me just put these down. Let me just put all the options down. You could either buy boots tier 1, or you can get an active. You could either get tier 1 Creeping Curse, or you can get Blink, anything like that. I'd say 90% of the time I build Creeping Curse on Ares, just because the slow is good for being aggressive early. And obviously you get 1 of each potion. Okay, so this is how you would start with Ares. These starts depend on your playstyle. So if you are, it depends on your playstyle, but it also depends who you're playing against. Like if their lane is aggressive, you might want to play a bit more passive, or if their lane is really passive, you can be aggressive and bully them. So basically, Watcher's Gift, you want to build Watcher's Gift when you're not really playing too aggressive. Watcher's Gift is a core starter item on supports. Basically, because supporters don't really get much farm, they don't get any last hits, you have to leave all the last hits and most of the farm to your ADC. Watcher's Gift just gives you increased gold for not taking last hits, because supports naturally, well not naturally, support's role is to leave the last hits for the ADCs so they can get their stacks. So by watching, that's why it's called Watcher's Gift, so if you watch them get the last hit, if you're in the area while they get last hits, you get a bonus. So basically, being within assist range of a minion or jungle camp monster's death without dealing with a killing blow, so without getting the last hit, awards 4 bonus gold and also restores 10 health and 5 mana. So by letting your ADC build up stacks, it gives you extra gold and it gives you health and mana regen. So it's good for just farming up and just in general gameplay. So that's just a good farming item for people who aren't really want to be aggressive early, it's good for getting your items online faster, which means you are more of a late game orientated or mid game orientated god. So that's what Watcher's Gift is for, whereas Market of Vanguard is the opposite. Market of Vanguard is a active, well not an active, it's a star item you would want to buy if you're either playing against Ares or you're planning to play Ares aggressively. Market of Vanguard is the most common but active on Ares because Ares is quite an aggressive god in the laning phase. Basically, Ares does a lot of damage, and by buying Market of Vanguard, he can tank minions a lot better, so he can be more aggressive, he can hit his chains and just bully them out of the lane. So the way Market of Vanguard works is, I'll just hover over it. Oh, when it come up, okay. So if it doesn't come up, this is what you have to do. Okay. So Market of Vanguard, it gives you 5 physical protection, 5 magical protection, which is not much protection at all. It's okay to start with, but it's hardly noticeable, put it that way. So it gives you a small amount of protections, it's not really noticeable. 150 health is noticeable early game because most gods early game only have around 800 health, so the 150 health is a big thing. It gives you quite a lot of health for 800 gold. So that makes you feel tankier just because you have a higher health pool. But the main reason you want to buy Market of Vanguard if you're being aggressive if you're being an aggressive god early is because of the passive. All damage taken is reduced by 5. So basically, if you take, for example, a Kraken, say if the Kraken deals 800 damage to you, by having Market of Vanguard, it reduces it by 5, so you'll only take 795 damage. Whereas you won't really think that's a lot, because it isn't. That's not much of a reduction. So for single burst abilities, Market of Vanguard doesn't really work too well. It only reduces it by 5. However, for dot damage, it does a lot more. For example, Kukulkan's Tornado. If you get hit by Kukulkan's Tornado, it applies you with a dot and it ticks every half a second for, I can't remember what they changed it to. I think it's 2.5 seconds. So anyway, that's 5 ticks. So say if Kukulkan's Tornado does 300 damage to you, then that's 50. No. Anyway, yeah, it is 50. So if it lasts for 3 seconds, it'll do 6 ticks. Say it does 300 damage, so that's 50 per tick. So if you think of it that way, then each tick with Market of Vanguard would only be doing 45. So there's still a 5 reduction, but it reduces at every tick of damage. So in total, after the 6 ticks, you've reduced their damage by 30. So as you can see, Market of Vanguard is good because minions, the damage you take from minions isn't like collective. All the minions do individual small amounts of damage. So by having Market of Vanguard, it reduces the minion damage by quite a noticeable amount. If you have Market of Vanguard, you can tank minions a lot better than without Market of Vanguard. So the reason you pick Market of Vanguard up if you're being aggressive, it's weird because Market of Vanguard you see is quite a defensive item because it gives you defense, but you buy it to be aggressive because it enables you to tank the minions better, so you can fight even though there's a minion wave there. And because if they don't have Market of Vanguard, they can't fight you back because your minions will be doing more damage to them than their minions are doing to you. So basically, it makes the minions do less damage, meaning you can be more aggressive. So yeah, Market of Vanguard is good against Ares and it's good as Ares. So in my opinion, I normally build Market of Vanguard and Creeping Curse plus potions. But yeah, I don't really need to explain why you get shoes or why you get Creeping Curse. Basically, that just gives you more movement speed. That's it. And this one just enables you to slow the enemy team as you're fighting them, which helps out a lot in early fights. It helps your ADC hit more auto attacks. It's just good for being aggressive. Okay, so that's the start out of the way. Now, for a support in Conquest, the first thing I buy is Traveller Shoes. So that's the thing with supports. Well, it depends really. If you're quite far ahead and you basically if you completely dominate your lane and you want to keep doing damage, you want to keep putting pressure on, you can buy penetration boots. Let me just get them here. So you have 2 options in my opinion. You could get cooldown boots. Nah, I'm leaving out this. Okay. So these are the 2 options I would choose. You can't choose any of the boots you want. Obviously, you need boots for the movement speed, so you can choose whatever of the 4 boots you want to choose. But these are the best 2 in my opinion. 90% of the time on all the supports I play, I pick up Traveller Shoes. The reason for that is supports don't get a lot of farm because always, like I explained before, Watcher's Gift, you're always having to lean farm for your ADC, and you don't really want to steal too much farm, otherwise they go behind and then they'll struggle, etc, etc. So like Watcher's Gift, Traveller Shoes, basically you gain 14% movement speed, so it gives you the most movement speed out of any boots. It gives you 18%, which is what every boots gives you, but the passive, it gives you 14% additional movement speed and 25 HP5 while out of combat. So the reason why this is so good is supports have to travel around the map quite a lot because they have to rotate to lanes and help out, and they're always rotating around like the jungler. They need quite a lot of, well, they don't need a lot of movement speed, but having movement speed will help them get around the map faster, meaning they can rotate to mid lane, help out their mid lane, they can get to mid camps, etc, etc faster. So Traveler's Shoes, not only does it give you more movement speed, which is great for supports, it also gives you 30 gold whenever you hit an enemy guard with an ability. So while out of combat, not of it, each time you hit an enemy guard, you earn 30 gold. This cannot occur on the same guard more than once. Okay, anyway, so basically what that means is every time you hit an enemy guard, you will get 30 gold for hitting them, and then it can only be every 90 seconds. So say if you're in a team fight and you hit all 5 people at any stage in that team fight, that gives you a total of 150 extra gold. So just by hitting people, you don't have to get any kills, but just by actually hitting the gods in a team fight, if you hit all 5 of them, you get an extra 150 gold. And like I said, that's helpful for supports because they don't get much gold or farm anyway, so it just helps them get their items online. So I think Traveler's Shoes is 90% of the time the best option for boots to get on supports. But if you're ahead and you are already if you're support and you're ahead, you've already got 2 kills and you want to keep putting the pressure on, you know you're fed and you want to keep doing damage. Ares is really good at doing damage. Ares deals an insane amount of damage. I go as far as saying he is the most damaging Guardian. Hades does do quite a lot of damage, but he's not a support guard. Okay, I think Hades is definitely in the top 3 damaging Guardians. He is, when he's ahead, he deals an insane amount of damage, and you just don't want to be near him. But the thing is, if Ares behind, he's really easy to kill. So it's kind of high risk, high reward. So in my opinion, I'd always get Traveler's Shoes, regardless of what start you did. I always just pick up Traveler's Shoes. I prefer it. So I go for boots. So I could keep these here. Then after that, I'm gonna put in all the core items on Ares, then extra damage items and defensive items, and I'll quickly run through and explain them all. So core items. If we go into popular items, that's normally where the core items are. Let's go into these. You need these 2 items. I'll explain all these items once I've put them in. What else is core on Ares? I'd say Spirit Robe could be core. I'll leave that for now. I don't think there's any core items other than these. Damage items, you can get that. You can get this one. I think that's it for damage items. I'd say so. Well, I guess I'll put that in damage items. Defensive, if you want more defense, you can either get this, you can get this. I will explain all of these in just a second. What else did I think I needed? I'll put Void Stone back in there as well because it's also defensive. And one more defensive item I need to put in. Okay, so I'm going to put that in the active slot, put that there. Okay, so I'll quickly explain all of these now. So in the core tab, the core ones here are the ones I build on Ares every single game, regardless of the situation, who I'm against, or anything like that. Okay, the only time I wouldn't build one of these is if their team is all physical or all magical. Sovereignty is a physical protection item, Heartward is a magical protection item. It's very rarely that you go against a team that has no magical or no physical damage. Basically, it's very rare you go against a team of 5 people that all do magical damage. So, the only time I wouldn't build either of these items is if their team is all magical, I wouldn't build Sovereignty. If their team is all physical, I wouldn't build Heartward. But that normally never happens. So, that's not really something you take into account. So these items here, I always build on Ares every game. This is, by the way, this is for support Ares because he doesn't really play in any other role. He's useless in solo because he can't clear. Useless in mid because he can't clear. He's not an ADC because he's not auto attack based. He's ability based. I guess jungle's his second role, but he really struggles to clear the jungle camps. So yeah, basically he can only really play in support just because of his lack of clear. Anyway, aside from that, these are the core items. These are the core items on every support you play. Basically, pretty much no matter what Guardian, pretty much no matter what god you're playing in the support role, you need these 3 items. Basically, this one gives you, I've already explained this item, this one gives you physical protection and health, and it also gives your allies a buff of magic protection. This is the best physical protection item for a support, this is the best magic protection item for a support. That's why you get those on every support in pretty much every game. So these 2 items are your core. Then, so basically they're self-explanatory. You buy this for physical, buy that for magical, that's it. Aside from that, we'll go on to the damage tabs now. So for Ares, Ares is heavily dot based, and dot means damage over time. So Ares doesn't do burst damage. His abilities aren't just boom, you've been hit with one big hit, that's it, that's all that's damage. His damage is very continuous and it applies small amounts of damage but continuously, so it builds up to a huge amount of damage. So yeah, Ares is a slow damaging god. Well, he's not slow damaging, he still does do a lot of damage, but he deals it over time. So for that reason, Spirit of the Magus is a good item on Ares, because enemies hit by your damaging abilities have their magic protection reduced by 10, and an additional 10% for 5 seconds, maximum of 2 stacks. So if you didn't have a dot, which is damage over time, you'd have to use 2 abilities to get both stacks on that. However, if you the two ticks of the dot damage will apply as two different instances of damage, meaning it will stack up to 2 times. So anything that applies stacks for, by using abilities, it's better for dot damage. So anyway, Spirit of Magus, I don't really build this on Ares unless you are really far ahead and you want to get kills and you're doing damage. Other than that, I would never really build this. Void Stone's always a better item if you want some penetration. If you are going to get a true penetration item that actually deals damage, Spirit of the Magus is better. I would build Spirit of the Magus over Obsidian Shard. So basically, if you want more penetration, your 2 options are that and that. Whereas that one is more for just single burst damage, this one's more for dot damage. And then there's Void Stone. Okay, so I only build that if you are ready far ahead and you want to get kills. I'd never normally build Spirit of the Magus on Ares. Void Stone. Void Stone is a great item on Ares. Like I explained at the start of the video, his passive means you get 30 extra magical power depending on how many aura items you have. Void Stone is an aura item, as you can see here. It says the aura there. I can't move my mouse over to show you because otherwise it'll go away, and I can't use my finger because you can't see that on the webcam. But as you can see on the description of Void Stone, it says aura with a little dash, and it says reduces the magical protection of enemies within 55 units by 15. So basically what that means is anyone who's near you, they have their magic protection reduced by 15. And so that helps out your mages and your magic damage dealers on your team. So basically, as a support, you want to help out your team as much as possible. So by buying this item, you're making your mages do more damage by reducing the enemy's protections. It also gives you magical protection, which helps you be tankier, which is what a support should be. And it also, on the plus side, gives you a bit more damage. It's also an aura item, so it gives you even more power. So Ares gets 30 magical power from it being an aura item. And he gets 40 magical power from the item itself, meaning Void Stone gives him 70 magical power, which is a lot for an item. It also gives him 50 magical protection, and it also reduces the enemy's protections. So because of Ares' passive, Void Stone is just a great item on Ares. Okay, let's sell that. Well, not sell that, let's get rid of that. I've explained that one. Shoes of the Magi, I've explained that, but if you want to do damage, you build that. I've already explained that before when I was talking about boots. And now onto the defensive items. Hang on, there's one more I've missed off that I could put in. There we go. Okay, so Spirit Robe. The way Ares works is his ultimate. I explained this in the last part of the video, but I have to explain it now in order to explain why you build these things. So Ares' ultimate, basically he has a big circle. Anyone who's in the big circle gets hit by a chain. After a short period of time, he pulls everyone who is hit by the chain into the middle. The only way you can avoid getting pulled in by that chain into a small spot and stunned, the only way you can avoid it is by becoming CC immune. So you can either use beads, or some abilities give you CC immunity. For example, Yannis, while Yannis is channeling his ultimate, he is CC immune, meaning he can't be hit by crowd control effects. CC meaning crowd control. So basically Ares' ult pulls people in. The only way they can avoid it is by being CC immune. So Ares' ult is on a 90-second cooldown. The cooldown for Beads 3 is 90 seconds. Beads 3 isn't active, that makes you CC immune for a short period of time. So the gods that don't have inbuilt CC immunity have to build beads in order to escape Ares' ult. So if his ult timer is 90 seconds and the beads cooldown timer is 90 seconds, you think what's the point in Ares' ult existing if they buy beads free and they have it, it'll always be up for when it gets pulled in, so it'll never be effective. So in order to counter that, what you do is you build something called cooldown reduction. Cooldown reduction reduces your ability cooldowns. So the maximum amount of cooldown reduction you can have, as it says here, is 40. So you can reduce all your cooldowns by 40%. So if you have max cooldown reduction on Ares, so if I build these items, my cooldown reduction is at 40%, and my ultimate would be, I think it's less than 60 seconds, meaning you have a 30-second window to ult the person you ulted before, so you can pull them in. So basically by building cooldown reduction on Ares, not only does it make your chains up and your fire up more often, so you can keep doing more damage, you can do it more consistently, it also makes you able to actually pull people in with your ult. Otherwise, if they just save their beads, you never pull anyone in. So you always need to buy cooldown reduction on Ares, otherwise his ult is pretty much useless and easily counterable. If you buy cooldown reduction, it's not counterable unless they have beads plus a CC immune ability. And not every god in the game has a CC immune ability, so if you keep ulting that person, then obviously they're going to get pulled in every now and then, and that's a free kill for your team. So by buying cooldown reduction, you're giving your team free kills, which is what a support wants to do. Anyway, so the reason I started talking about cooldown reduction is because Spirit Robe is the next item I was going to explain, and Spirit Robe gives you 15% cooldown reduction. I've explained that, you know why you want cooldown reduction. The rest of Spirit Robe gives you 40 physical protection and 40 magic protection, so it gives you quite a good amount of protections of either type. So if their team has got a lot of isn't too heavily based on physical or magical. They have quite a good mix of physical and magical. Spirit Robe gives you a bit of protections of both. And also, the passive on Spirit Robe is really good. Whenever you get hit by a crowd control ability, you gain 15% damage mitigation for 3 seconds. So say if the enemy support does a big... Say the enemy is a Geb. If Geb blinks in Cataclysms, which stuns multiple members of your team, including you, or if it's just you alive, then for the 3 seconds after you've been stunned, you'll get 15% damage mitigation. Meaning that the damage you take during that 3 seconds is 15% reduced. So basically it just helps you to be tankier. So not only does it give you physical or magical protection, which helps you be tankier and survive more, it also gives you damage percentage reduction, which obviously makes you tankier. So basically it's just a good item for protections against both physical and magical and gives you cooldown reduction. Let's get rid of you. Mail of Renewal. Mail of Renewal is a physical protection item. It gives you 40 physical protection, which isn't the most for a pure physical protection item. As you see in Spirit Robe gives you 40 physical and magical. But however, it does give you health and it does give you cooldown reduction. So I've already explained cooldown reduction. Health is good because it makes you have a higher health pool, meaning they have to deal more damage in order to kill you, which makes you tankier. Physical protection obviously makes you more tanky towards physical damage. But the main reason for Mail of Renewal being a good item is its passive. Basically, every time you get a kill or an assist in team fights, if you're a support, you're mainly going to be getting assists. It gives you 15% of your maximum health and mana are restored to you over the next 5 seconds. So, for example, if you go in and ult their team, with your ultimate, you have to stand quite still, and you are quite susceptible to taking quite a lot of damage if you use your ultimate. So, say if you go in, you ult, you pull 3 people into the middle, and you've lost quite a lot of health. You're only on about a quarter of your original health, so you're quite weak. If all the people you pull in die, you get 3 stacks of Mail of Renewal, meaning that you will gain 45% of your maximum health and mana back over the next 5 seconds. So if you go in, ult, pull 3 people in, they all die, and you retreat back for 5 seconds, you will then gain almost half of your health back. So once you've gained half of your health back, then obviously instead of returning back to the base, you're ready to go back in and fight again. So Mail of Renewal just helps you be able to survive team fights and keep going back in. And as long as you're getting kills or assists every now and then, you are getting healed, which makes you feel tanky and you can survive for longer. That's the job of supporters. They want to survive for a long time and they want to peel for their team. Okay, Wingblade. Wingblade gives you 300 health, it gives you cooldown reduction, and it gives you movement speed. Wingblade is a situational item. The only reason you'd want to build Wingblade, obviously it gives you cooldown, which is always good, it gives you health, which is always good. The attack speed isn't really beneficial to Ares because he's not really an attack speed based god. And the movement speed is obviously helpful to help with rotations, like I explained with the boots. You need quite a lot of movement speed for support to rotate around the map and help out your team, and to catch up with enemies and stuff like that. But basically the main reason, like most items, why Wingblade is good is because of its passive. Every time you're hit by a slow, you become immune to slows and you gain increased movement speed so you can run away. Basically, Wingblade is a situational item you build against their team if they have quite a lot of slows on their team. If their team has slows and it's really affecting you and you can't keep up with the team fight or you can't get away, you buy Wingblade, so when you get hit by a slow, you get extra movement speed either to chase down the enemy or to run away. So it just helps you survive and it helps you be more mobile and not be able to get trapped as easily. I've already explained Voidstone, I was just putting it here because it is a damage and a defensive item, that's why I put it in both tabs. Okay, these items are in the active slot because there was no room in the defensive slot, but these are defensive items. Okay, so Mystical Mail. Mystical Mail is a physical protection item that gives you 60 physical protection and 300 health. I don't know why it's not coming up. Okay, we'll have to do it the hard way. So let's get rid of this. Physical protection. There we go. Okay. Mystical Mail gives you 300 health and 60 physical protection, as well as being an aura item, and like I've explained a couple of times in this video, and aura items on Ares give him 30 additional magical power when they're completed. Basically, it gives him 30 magical power, 300 health, 60 physical protection, as well as dealing 40 magical damage per second. So it deals a dot damage to everyone around him of 40 magical damage per second. So it helps Ares do a bit more damage. Obviously, it applies as passive so he gets more power, as well as giving quite a lot of physical and magical protection. So it's good for being aggressive, which Ares normally tends to be. It's good for surviving physical damage, which Ares wants to do, and gives you health, which makes you more survivable, or makes you be able to survive easier, which Ares wants to do. So basically, it's just a good physical protection item for Ares because of it gives him more power and it gives him protections. It's just a good item. And then there's Pestilence. So Pestilence, it's not coming up again, so I have to do it the hard way. Magical, Okay. Pestilence is another situational item like Wingblade. Wingblade, you're building its teams with quite a lot of slows. Pestilence is an active that you build, so not an active, it is an item that you build against magic damage dealers, and it's also an item that you build when they have a lot of healers or just one healer on their team. So the way Pestilence works is it gives you a good amount of magical protection, gives you a good amount of health, gives you 65 magical protection, 300 health, which is good. And also, Pestilence is an aura item. It's a good aura item, so yeah, it's acceptable to buy. And also, because it's an aura item, you get 30 physical power, so 30 magical power. So put it this way: the reason Ares passive is so good is because the most power you get from an item on mages comes from Rodder Tahuti. Rodder Tahuti gives you 125 magical power in one item, but it costs a lot of money. So basically, it gives you 125 magical power just from buying an item, but it does cost a lot. Whereas with Ares, if you buy 4 aura items, so the aura items give you their own things. For example, Void Stone gives you magic protection and magical power, plus it's passive. So all the aura items give you additional effects, as well as giving you the power. So if you get 4 aura items, you gain an additional 120 magical power just from Ares' passive. So it's like an item. So it's like an item in itself. Banquet's Talon gives you 100 magical power, but it gives you a life steal and other things. So basically, by buying 4 aura items, you get 120 magical power, which is like an item in itself. So in a way, it's like you're building 7 items instead of 6, if you get what I mean. So basically, it's just good to build aura on Ares. Okay, back to Pestilence. Pestilence is good against healers because its aura says the healing and regeneration of enemies within 55 units is reduced by 20%. So if there's an Aphrodite or a Hel or a Sylvanas on the enemy team and the healing is becoming quite a problem, you can just buy Pestilence, and in team fights it just reduces the healing by 20%. It's not that much. The healing isn't completely stopped. It's only 20%, but it still helps. For example, say if they had a healer on their team and they escaped on 100 HP, if you had Pestilence, they wouldn't be able to heal that much, and they might have died. So just every little helps. It's just good. It's just a good thing to have, and especially because of the nerf they did to Weakening Curse. Weakening Curse, what it used to do was, it used to slow enemies' movement speed, and it used to cancel their healing by 100%, meaning they can't heal for while it's applied. However, they nerfed Weakening Curse, so it only deals 60, is it? So yeah, the healing is only now reduced by 65%. So there's no items in the game that reduce healing by 100% anymore. So the reason Pestilence is becoming so much better is because Weakening Curse got nerfed to it. It reduces the healing by 65% rather than 100. So having Weakening Curse plus Pestilence makes it up to 85%. So having those 2 items combined together reduce healing by quite a lot, which is very noticeable in team fights, and it can help your team win a team fight. And also making Ares tankier and giving him his passive. So that's all the items for Ares. I'll quickly do a build of what I would normally build in a conquest match. So these will be my starting items. I get Watcher's Gift for my starter. That would be here. Just imagine that's there. Then I build Traveler's Shoes. Then I build Sovereignty. Then Heartwood Amulet, and that's pretty much what you start with. And then from there, all the items I've shown you, I can't really say what you build. Is very dependent on what the enemy team is like. Oh, another defensive item you can have in Ares is Megardian Mail. Megardian Mail is a good item because it gives you protections and it gives you health, which obviously most of the items do, but it's good in that sense. It makes you tankier. I've explained that many times. But its passive is when you get hit by a basic attack, there's a 30% chance to slow your enemy's attack speed and movement speed for 2 seconds. So if their team has quite a lot of auto attackers in it, say if they have a Bacchusor in a solo lane, they have a Nemesis in the jungle, they have an ADC, that's quite a lot of auto attack speed gods, that's free. So basically by buying Megardian Mail, it gives you protections against those 3 auto attack gods, as well as slowing their attack speed if they hit you. Basically that's just good if the team has a lot of attack speed. Anyway, back to the build. These are 3 items I buy every game, pretty much without question. This is like the way I start, plus Watcher's Gift here, or Machina Vanguard, whichever you want to do. Then I build these 3 items, and then your last 3 items are situational onto what you need. So you can choose whatever you want from the items I explained previously. So you can go back and watch the video again, or you can just pause it, or you can just remember, and you can choose from those items which ones you would want. You could get Void Stone, you could get Mail of Renewal, whatever you feel like you need in these last 3 slots. Whatever you feel will benefit you and the team the most. Okay, so that's it for Ares build. And now I'll go on to leveling his abilities and explaining why you would level each one. Okay, so Ares' main source of damage is his shackles. His shackles work. I'm not going to explain how it works because I do that in the next part of the video, so I'll just explain how you level them. Ares' most important ability is his ultimate, so you want to level that whenever you can. But the one you want to max first, because you can't level your ultimate all the way up to level 5 straight away. That's not how it works. So the one you want to level the most is shackles. So, however, for conquest, I'd level my Searing Flesh first because that helps clear the the jungle camp to start with. Basically, you start the game level 1, you go to the camp, you need to clear the camp, and then you clear a wave or 2, and then you hit level 2. So, pretty much, although Shackles is the ability you want to put the most points into, the one you want to get to level 5 first, you level Searing Flesh first in order to help you clear the waves and help you clear the camp. After that, you don't really need to level it because it's normally up to your ADC to clear the wave, so that's fine. But you get it to start with just to help out with the jungle clear. So I'd level Searing Flesh first, then from there I'd level Shackles whenever I can. And then at level 4, I probably will get Bolster Defenses just because it makes your team tanky. I explain abilities later on. Basically, I'd level Bolster Defenses at level 4. Level 5, obviously, I'll take his ultimate. And then from there, I'd max out his Shackles whenever I can. I'd skip a point at level 8, so we click skip. So if I go back to level 8, as you can see, I can't level Shackles because I've already leveled it twice. And the way Smite works, you can't level the same ability 3 times in a row. So the way you get around it is you skip a level at level 8, and what that means is you don't level anything. So when you go from 7 to 8, you have the option to level up an ability. But by skipping it, what that means is you don't level up an ability, you wait till you hit level 9, and then you level up 2 abilities. So basically, as you can see, go back to level 8, this is grayed out, I can't click on it, I can't level it. If I skip, and as you can see, the picture I can click on now, my ability becomes maxed out, and then I can get my ultimate at level 10. If I go back to level 8, I can't get Shackles. If I get rid of these, can I get rid of them? Nope, apparently not. Okay, let's do this again. There we go. Okay, so if I go back to level 8, you can't level Shackles or your ultimate, and then the 2 abilities you want to prioritize most, they're the ones you want to level. So by skipping it, then you can get both of them. How cool is that? That was really weird. I don't know why I said that. But anyway, yeah, Shackles. That's the one you want to max. So by skipping a point at level 8, you can max it faster. If I didn't do that, if I did it this way, there we go, by that. So if I didn't skip the ability, I'd have to put a point into my Searing Flesh, and then I put a point into my ultimate, and then I go back and put one of my Shackles. As you can see, I've maxed out my ability at level 10, whereas if I did it the other way, I maxed out my ability at level 9. That's why you skip the ability. Just quickly fix this again, so you level Searing Flesh, Shackles, Shackles, Bolster Defenses, ult, Shackles, Shackles, skip level 8, then Shackles, no escape, and then I would level, and then after I've leveled my Shackles, the next ability I want to prioritize is my Searing Flesh. So then I would level Searing Flesh whenever I can, picking up the ult whenever it's there, max Searing Flesh, and then go on to Bolster Defenses, pick up the ult whenever I can, keep maxing Bolster Defenses, and then finally finish off my ultimate. So that's how I'd level Ares. But yeah, if you're confused by anything I've been saying, or you don't understand something, or you think I've said something wrong and you want to just express your own opinion, just feel free to leave a comment below on saying what you would like to say, or if you have a question saying why isn't this item good on Ares, or I thought this item was good, I like this item, why would you not suggest building it, or would you suggest building it? Just any questions like that, really, just leave a comment below and I'll be sure to reply to them all. Also, I'd like to remind you at this point to leave a comment below saying which god you want to see me do a tutorial on next week, because it makes it easier for me, because I can then do tutorials on gods that you actually want to see, rather than me just picking gods that have no benefit to you if you watch the video. Okay, so that's been it for Ares items and abilities, and I will see you in the next part of the video where I explain what his abilities actually do and how to use them. Okay, and welcome back to the second part of the video. So I'm going to quickly level up to level 20. I probably should have done this before I started recording, but oh well, we're here now. So in this part of the video I'm going to briefly explain, well not briefly explain, I will explain what all of Ares' abilities actually do and how to use them in the most effective way. So let's level up all my abilities. There we go. And then I will buy, and then just for the sake of the video, I'm just going to buy full cooldown, so that way I can use my abilities more often and show you them more often. So let's just buy full cooldown stats. Yep, there we go, full cooldown. And then I'm going to actives. I'm going to buy beads because that beads free reduces your cooldown reduction. Well, it reduces your cooldowns by 3%. Well, sorry, by 3 seconds. Okay. So Ares' abilities. I've already explained this passive earlier on in the video, so we can leave that. Okay, turn my phone off. There we go. So Shackles. Ares' Shackles, basically, what you do is you fire it at the god and its target, and if you hit them with it, it slows them, it cripples them, meaning they can't jump or dash. So it slows them and cripples them, meaning they can't use any movement abilities and they have their movement speed slowed, while also dealing a tick damage. So it deals, and if you do it on minions, it doesn't chain the minions, it just deals a flat amount of damage, wherever if you hit the god, it looks like this. So they are chained, and while they are chained, they can't jump, they can't dash away, and their movement speed is slowed, as well as taking dot damage. So they're slow 15% per shackle, and yeah, basically you can use a shackle up to 3 times. So I can go 1, 2, 3. So you can fire 3 shackles, and as you can see, the damage increases depending on how many shackles you hit. So if you hit a god with 1 shackle, obviously it only ticks for a third of the speed. If you hit him with all 3 shackles, I hit him with the full speed. However, you can only use the shackle 3 times if you hit all 3. So if I fired a shackle, miss my second one, I can't fire another shackle. So you have to hit all 3. So basically the way it works is Ares' shackle. The first one is the hardest one to hit. If you hit the first one, the god is slowed and crippled so they can't jump away, making it easier for you to hit your second one. But the trick is, so say you've got quite good at hitting your abilities, say you've got quite good at hitting your shackles, so you can go boom, boom, boom. The way I just did it is the wrong way to do it. Basically what you want to do is, you want to spread out the time you use your shackles, because if you hit someone with 3, it doesn't do the... Basically how it works is, if you hit someone with 3 chains, it doesn't tick 3 times as fast. It doesn't tick for each individual chain. Basically it just extends the time. So basically, how long does it last for? Okay, it lasts for 4 seconds. Okay, so hitting someone with the first chain, the chain will last for 4 seconds, dealing the damage for that 4 seconds. By hitting with the second chain, it doesn't do its own individual damage, it just refreshes the timer. So if you hit them with 1 chain, it lasts for 4 seconds, and if you hit them with a second chain, it lasts for another 4 seconds, hit them with a third chain, it lasts for another 4 seconds. So by spamming them all in one go, you're refreshing the timer after a very short time. So you're not getting the longest time possible out of your chains, meaning you are doing the less amount of damage. So the way you want to do it is you hit them with 1 chain, auto-attack them, hit them with another chain, auto-attack them, hit them with another chain. That way the whole thing lasts longer, meaning you're overall dealing more damage. I hope that makes sense. Like I said, if you have any questions, if you don't get what I'm saying, or you just have a question, feel free to leave a comment below asking me. Okay, Ares' bolster defenses. It's a pretty simple thing. Basically, if I do this, you can see this, these circles around me, these little stone things around me now. They'll disappear in a second. There we go, they're gone. Basically, while that's up, I get more protections and I get some. I get crowd control reduction by a percentage amount. So it reduces the effects of crowd control and gives your team more protections. As you can see, like I explained before, Spirit Robe gives you 40 of each protection, whereas this ability gives everyone 40 of each protection. So just by using this ability, it gives people an item's worth of protections, which isn't like something to be taken lightly. If you use this correctly in a team fight, it'll make your whole teams feel a lot more tanky. So basically, you just want to... How to use this ability is just use it when you have as many people around you when you're fighting. That's pretty much it. Just remember to use it. Most people forget about that ability. Okay, next ability is Ares' Searing Flesh. Looks like this. There we go. So basically, it's just a flamethrower, and it deals damage per tick. It has a set damage per tick that it deals, and it scales off your magical power. So at the moment with my build, it will do 42.35 damage per tick. And it ticks every 0.5 seconds for 4 seconds, meaning it ticks 8 times in total. But it also deals 3% of the target's maximum health at max rank. So basically, as you can see, my health is 2,000 and so. So basically, the more health you have, the more damage it'll do from that percentage. As you can see, Odin, it's doing 2 numbers. It's doing 32 and the 12. The 32 comes from this. I know I said it does 40, 2.35. But because he has some protections, it reduces that, so it ends up being 32. So my Searing Flesh is 32 with that tick, and then the other number you see is the percentage damage from his health. So the 12 is depending on his percentage of health, and the 32 is just from the damage from the actual ability. So the way you want to use these abilities is you hit them with chain, auto attack, chain, auto attack, and chain, auto attack, and then you start burning them. And the reason you do it after your chains is because while your chains are applied to them, they are slowed, so you can keep up with them, and they can't run. And they can run, but they're slowed, but they can't jump and dash away. So say if I just walked up to the Odin and was like, hey, I'm going to burn you, he can just jump away, and then my ability is kind of useless, I can't hit him anymore. So by hitting him with the chains, he can't get away from me, so I can guarantee my flames will hit him. Okay, and lastly, I'll show you what Ares' ultimate does. I just need to wait for Ra to use his ultimate. There we go, and now I can ult him. As you can see, he was in the circle, he gets hit by the chain. After a short period of time, he gets pulled in. And like so. So pretty much what I did there was actually how you use Ares' combo. So basically, in team fights you're blinking. Blink is a really good active on Ares. That's another thing I didn't do. I didn't explain the actives for Ares. My bad. Basically, I'll explain them now. Actives for Ares: Weakening Curse is great, Enfeebling Curse is great, Heavenly Agility, also a good item, and Blink. That's pretty much it. So the reason Blink is such a good item on Ares It's basically the plan is you blink in and then ult everyone in the team fight, taking them by surprise, because if you just charge at them, most people know how to play against Ares, so they'll start spreading out, so you can't ult all of them. However, if you blink, you take them by surprise, they're all grouped up and you can hit a lot more people a lot easier. So basically you just blink in and ult them. And then once you've ulted them, you hit them with a chain, and then you do the combo like I showed you before. Basically, your ult just pulls them all into one spot, and then that way they don't move, so you can guarantee to hit the chain, and you can do your combo to get the most amount of damage. Also, when you pull everyone into one spot, say if you have like a Poseidon on your team, basically, Poseidon's ultimate, it does, it's a big circle. If you hit them on the outside ring, it deals less damage than if you hit them on the inside ring. So by Ares pulling everyone into one spot, it's very easy for Poseidon to hit the inside ring. So Ares pulls everyone in, Poseidon crackers them, pretty much everyone's dead, or very low health. So the way it works, this is basically Ares' full combo. It's not a very difficult god to play. That's the thing with most Guardians. Guardians, well, the support role is kind of a complex role to play by itself. All the things you have to know how to do, when to rotate, when to help your lane out and stuff like that, and when to like clear camps, when to help out your ADC, etc, etc. So because that bit is so complicated about support, they make the Guardian gods, or the support gods, quite easy to play. For example, Geb, none of his abilities are really skill shots, none of his abilities are really hard to hit. It's just you have to know when and where to use them. That's where the hard part comes in. With Ares, his abilities aren't very difficult. Blink in, ult the Ra. There we go. Pull him in. Chain, 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 and flips. I know I didn't auto attack there. I forgot, to be honest. It's my bad. I actually do have Diamond Ares. I have him 10 mastery, and I still forget to do the auto attacks. I know to wait. So basically, I know to do this. Wait, and then do that. I know to do that, but I always forget to auto attack in between each chain because normally you're too far away, and when I'm close enough to do it, I just forget. So yeah, if you want to get the most damage possible, you chain, auto attack, chain, auto attack, chain, auto attack, and then you burn them from there. So yeah, I always forget to do that, but it's good practice to get used to doing. Obviously, if they're too far away, there's no point just auto attacking thin air. Just wait like I do. So basically, if they're too far away, just chain, wait, chain, wait, chain. There's no point in auto attacking thin air. If it helps you to keep your timing. So if you're not sure how long to leave it, if it helps you to chain or attack just so you know the timing, and then you can chain again. The reason I wouldn't suggest doing it is because when you're auto attacking, you move slower than if you're just running normally. So auto attacking when you're doing it that way isn't really effective. But yeah, the reason you have to wait, and the reason you can't wait the full 4 seconds is because if I wait for too long, as you can see, I then can't fire the ability again. You only have a short period of time in order to do it. That's why you auto attack and then do it. But I think that's been it for this video. I can't really think of anything else I need to explain to you. So yeah, I'd like to thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy and you were new around here, please subscribe. And I'll see you in my next one. Thank you for watching.